Hello, everyone. I'm David Guzman. Welcome inside the NBC4 Digital Center for this edition of NBC4 Sports Extra. It is 4th of July weekend. Happy 250th birthday, America. And as we celebrate the nation's birthday, we're also looking ahead to Mid-Ohio as the IndyCar series comes to the Buckeye State at Mid-Ohio Racecourse. Over the next half hour, we're going to take an in-depth look at how Meyer Shank Racing is preparing for this weekend. Of course, they have stolen the headlines this IndyCar season thanks to Felix Rosenqvist, who took home the Indy 500 victory, his first of his career and the second for Meyer Shank Racing. So we'll catch up with the Indy 500 winner later on in the show. We'll also visit the shop in Pataskala, Ohio, and catch up with Mike Shank and look back on the Indy 500 win through his eyes. But first, we're going to talk with one of the other contenders from MSR. That would be Marcus Armstrong, the New Zealand native who is trying his best to get to victory lane. He's been knocking on the doorstep this year. He has had 5 top 10 finishes this year, including 2 races finishing in the top 5. So he's definitely been on the rise, but still hasn't gotten his first IndyCar victory through 56 starts. At his last appearance in Road America, he was contending for the lead when his car suffered a mechanical failure, which forced him to finish second to last in 24th. So Marcus trying to get over the hump and trying to bounce back from that poor performance at the end there at Road America. We spoke to him before that race, weeks out from Mid-Ohio, and I asked him how he's feeling about the season he's having so far.
It's been okay for sure. We've had some sort of sparks of greatness. I think we've been up there at many points. I feel like we always want more. It's one of those sports where no matter what you do, that you could have done better. And but I think we're building momentum. We're slowly getting to where we want to be. And where we want to be is fighting for wins every single weekend. Yeah, I mean, the team has been fantastic. I think on ovals we've been pretty strong and also on road courses. So it's all going in the right direction for sure.
You were fighting for that win for sure at the Indianapolis 500, eventually losing to your teammate, Felix Rosenqvist. When you look back at that race, what was the big takeaway from how that all unfolded? What was the biggest learning lesson for you?
Yeah, we led going into the final lap, which is, you could argue that you've, as a team, you've done your job pretty well when you're in that position fighting on the final lap. But yeah, we actually dropped to 5th on the final lap, which is, obviously you can always do something different, but just because of the way that the race goes, on a restart when you're leading, you're kind of a sitting duck. So, I feel like we learned a lot, and it's, a few mistakes here and there that we won't make again, just because it is a sort of painful loss. And the good thing is we're only halfway through our season at the moment. We've got a whole lot of races left to go and a lot of races to win. So I'm optimistic for the next following races.
Yeah, how does that result in Indy really motivating you for the rest of this year?
Yeah, I mean, every single race, there is something to be learned. So it's not only Indy, but I feel like we certainly showed that we were capable of winning, which is important. Winning at Indy, it's a big thing to be right up there at the pointy end at the 500. It's an insane race, chaos, and everything needs to go your way. And I'm proud that our team did in fact take the win just with Felix instead. So it's great that the team got that success. And saying that, I feel like we have been quite strong on road courses too, and we're probably due for some strong results here on road courses coming. We got Road America, we got Mid-Ohio, we got all the rest of them. So it's going to be a fun wee stretch here.
Yeah, you mentioned how you're really happy for your teammate, Felix. What's that relationship like? What have you taken away from how Felix has been able to handle himself? Obviously, he had the success at Indy. I imagine as teammates, there's a lot of conversations involved and a lot of learning too.
I'm very happy for Felix. You know, he's a good friend of mine, and we spent the whole month together in the engineering office talking about tiny little details. And at the end, we were both there, fighting for it. So, but I'm proud of him, and he's a super calm and cool, calm, collected sort of dude. So there's a lot to be learned from him. And he also had his first child last month, so it was a special month for him. Not only an Indy 500 win, but also a daughter. So fair play to him. It was a pretty cool month for him. So yeah, I mean, now we kind of work together pretty well. As I said, we've got a whole lot of races left to do. So you know, the devil is in the details. You got to nail everything.
Yeah, you talk about the details. When we talk about Mid-Ohio, I know you got a couple of weeks left until that race. What makes Mid-Ohio very unique and challenging?
Yeah, Mid-Ohio it's usually very hot and humid there, so physically it's quite demanding. It's a tight and technical circuit, a lot of low-speed corners that sort of lead into each other, so you kind of have to get the first one right in order to get the next one right, if that makes sense. So quite technically demanding from not only a driving standpoint, but also from a car vehicle dynamics standpoint too.
That weekend will happen to be the July 4th weekend, and this year happens to be America's birthday, 250th. I wondered, here's a fun question for you. If you were at a cookout, what would be on your plate? If we were serving hot dogs, burgers, how would you have your burger? How would you have your hot dog? Would you have potato salad? I mean, you know, I feel like living in Indianapolis, I'm sure you've had a taste of what an American cookout is like.
Not really, man. I mean, I haven't eaten meat in 9 years. So,
hey, that's something new. Maybe a veggie burger.
I don't know. I think I could be controversial and have sort of is there such thing as a peanut butter hot dog? So
we can make it a thing, man. We can make it a thing.
Put like a banana instead of a hot dog, and then instead of ketchup, put peanut butter.
Ooh.
That would be
okay. We'll put that on the menu for sure.
Thanks, bro.
I know my last question for you. I know you're working really hard. You feel like you've been close this year. What would getting into the winner's circle, into victory lane, what would that mean to you when that moment comes?
For sure, it would mean a lot. You know, it's to win an IndyCar, you have to get everything right. To be even inside the top 5, you kind of need to have everything right. So it's very competitive. I think it's the most competitive championship in the world, frankly. It's 15 guys that could win a race on any day. So to get it, yeah, the thing is we can do it, and that's why I'm being so critical. But I feel like it'll be a special moment, not only for me, but for my engineers too, who have been by my side through thick and thin. So we've got to dig deep here.
Marcus, I can't wait for that moment to happen to you when it does, and maybe it'll happen at Mid-Ohio, but best of luck for the rest of the season. And until then, I'm going to be putting peanut butter and banana on my burger. You know, there is a burger out there. I think it has peanut butter and bacon. They call it the Elvis, so maybe give that a try.
That sounds amazing.
Give it a try, man. Marcus, I appreciate the time. Best of luck.
Thanks, man.
When we come back, we take a trip over to Pataskala, where Meyer Shank Racing is based, and we catch up with one of the owners, Michael Shank, and look back on the Indy 500 victory by Felix Rosenqvist through his eyes. We're back here on NBC4 Sports Extra, looking ahead to the IndyCar Series race at Mid-Ohio happening this weekend. And just a couple of days ago, we paid a trip over to Pataskala, Ohio, where Meyer Shank Racing is based. And we caught up with owner Mike Shank about the Indy 500 victory by Felix Rosenqvist. That marked the second victory by the racing team in the prestigious race. The last time they took home the victory at at the Brickyard. That was back in 2021 when Helio Castroneves stole the show. So Felix Rosenqvist winning, and it was a proud moment for Meyer Shank Racing. We do want to say that we did this interview just as we found out that Felix Rosenqvist deciding to leave Meyer Shank Racing at the end of the year. But we wanted to take some time to look back on the Indy 500 win. Sports director Joe Nugent catching up with owner Mike Shank.
What is it like to walk into the shop here and see this car right here?
It's even today gives me chills to think about what this car has meant to us in the last couple months since the Indy 500. Since the Indy 500. It's life transforming for us. It's the second time we've been lucky enough to win it twice, and extremely proud of that. Really proud moment more than anything else, and just kind of really goes to show the strength of the team and the people that here at MSR.
What does it symbolize in terms of the effort that everybody puts in? I mean, it's rare for any team to win the Indianapolis 500 once, let alone do it twice here in a short amount of time.
Yeah, that moment is really exceptional, because you could kind of you name one as a fluke and two as, okay, maybe they know what they're doing. And I think that's the latter. I think we know what we're doing. And it really started last August in September of 25, I guess, starting to develop this particular car for the 500, along with our other two cars that ran in that race. But this car was built for the Indy 500, and we're really proud of it. I personally think it's the fastest car last maybe 2 years at the Speedway, and we just continue to evolve it with the great staff we have here. And it starts up in Marysville, Ohio, at the wind tunnel up into Honda up there, and then ultimately goes to the track. And it tested well, it qualified well, it did everything well, and just immense amount of pride right now.
It was the best finish in the history of the race.
And
closest.
Yes.
Most thrilling. It was awesome being there. How many times have you watched that last lap?
That's a great question. There's two things that I love. I love going on YouTube and watching the finish. Love doing that. But the other ones are all of the Snapchats I've got of everyone yelling at their TVs from 1,000 friends at the end of that race, which also makes my heart really happy and warm. And it just, that many people, especially in Central Ohio, caring about us is just a great feeling. I grew up in Gahanna, Ohio. I live out of Buckeye Lake today. I'm very pro-Ohio, pro-Central Ohio. I'm super glad to bring it back to our part of the country. And we continue to run the operations here out of the east side of Columbus.
Do you want to watch it one more time?
I will, sure.
All right. Coming to the white flag here, you've got Malukas and Armstrong in front of Felix on board here with Felix. What are you thinking at this point?
So this is tough right now, because now I see here I'm in trouble. Right there, boom, they hit tires. They actually touched. Now that's Marcus Armstrong, our teammate in the 66. Right now I'm thinking we could easily be P24 or P25, but suddenly they make it through turn 2, and they haven't crashed each other yet. Now this is the true test coming down the back straightaway. They're side drafting each other right now, but Felix is in the right position.
Okay.
Marcus is where I would be, but Felix just took the guts to keep it out there. And once he did that, he had the freer line that rolled more speed through, and now he's in line and he's getting the draft, and now he's going to side draft, and he hit the hybrid deployment at the same time, shifted to top gear, and the race was over then. So that gives me chills again watching it. But the fact that we didn't end up 23rd or 24th says a lot about how my two teammates race each other. That was pure class there, and some of the best driving you'll ever see.
What was it like on pit road as you were watching that unfold?
Just dismay, and the only way we knew, because our view of it, you couldn't tell. Only way we knew is the series came over our headphones and said number 60 wins the race, and just joy, pure joy, and unbelievable. And then they say it's the closest finish in the history, and all these things. I'm very pro history of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I grew up in Gahanna, Ohio, watching the race on the Wednesdays, getting the Indy Star sent to us every month, the paper, just to catch up on what's going on back in those days. And just to be a part of what now will be history over at IMS is something I don't even know where to write. It's just the number one thing in my work life that's ever happened.
For Marcus Armstrong, I was there when he got out of his car. He was extremely upset, so close to winning that race. Yeah. But boy, he's coming on here. Where is he in his career, and how much talent does he have, and how close is he to getting that first win?
Yeah, he's exceptionally good right now. He's 24, 25 years old now. He's had a couple years in the series. It takes that long to get kind of your mojo in IndyCar today. He's got it clearly. He's got the brain for it. We saw last weekend at Road America, he had that race won, then we had an engine issue, not his fault at all. But he dominated the end of that race, played it like a good chess game, and was in line to do something really cool. His day is coming, hopefully maybe in Mid-Ohio next week.
Speaking of that race, what does Mid-Ohio mean to you as somebody who's from Central Ohio and you've been up there for decades?
Yeah, I mean, I from 7 years old till now, I've camped there, I've driven race cars, I've won races myself there, I've done everything we can there, but I've not won an IndyCar race there. So that's at the very, very top of the list now to do. And looking for a very good weekend, and hope to see tons of people from Central Ohio up supporting their Central Ohio team.
What does it take to be successful at that track, to bring it home? What's been missing, basically?
Yeah, so the number one thing is you really need to qualify in the top 6 or 7, maybe 8 if you're lucky. It's really hard to pass there, so track position means everything. Also, which is really important, is the ability to conserve fuel and extend our what we call our stint lengths. It just helps. And helps positioning later on. So the number one thing, we need to qualify well. And once we get that set, then we can put a plan in motion, I think, to win the race, or at least podium with both of our guys, actually.
When we come back, one-on-one with Felix Rosenqvist, the winner of the Indy 500, and how he's approaching this weekend's race at Mid-Ohio.
With how much I've been traveling.
All right, we're back here on NBC4 Sports Extra, looking ahead to this weekend's IndyCar race at Mid-Ohio and taking a specific look at how Meyer Shank Racing is preparing for the big race. And we are now going one-on-one with Felix Rosenqvist, who's had a May to remember. First, he saw the birth of his daughter, Stella, and then just weeks later, winning the Indy 500 in the closest finish in the 110 editions of that prestigious race. Now he's looking ahead to trying to get back to victory lane at Mid-Ohio. We spoke with him weeks before the race, which also meant that we spoke with him before he announced that he'd be leaving Meyer Shank Racing at the end of the year. Here's that conversation.
It's obviously the biggest thing that ever happened to me in my career. And the strange thing is you don't really have time to celebrate it because we're in the middle of the season and we had another 2 weekends in a row leading up after the race. So I went to New York, did my media tour, and then I kind of just had to forget all about that and refocus on Detroit. So I feel like it's more between the races. You have moments where you think about it, you see a replay, and you're like, man, like I can't believe it still doesn't really feel like it was me that it happened. But yeah, very, very surreal experience, and still probably going to take a long time before I truly take it all in.
I want to ask, how has fatherhood changed your perspective on being an athlete in this sport?
It's definitely changed me a lot. I think I've gotten, as you say, more perspective on things in life. I think it's probably taken the edge off a little bit on me as an athlete. You realize there's other things in this life which can actually be a good thing for an athlete because you already put a lot of pressure on yourself. So for me at least, I feel like it kind of relieved me a little bit, and it's just the coolest thing that you can experience, and I'm still learning every day how to be a father. It feels like kind of cheating having a Father's Day coming up already after like 5-6 weeks, but no, it's just incredible, man. I do wish I had a little more time to spend with her, but we knew it was going to be a whirlwind having her in May, and unfortunately, you can't really plan those things too well. So we're just super happy, and I think even with that, probably after the season, you're going to have more time to truly take in everything that's happened because it's still kind of a blur.
I'm sure. And I know you've been incredibly busy, but I got to ask you this. How many diapers have you been able to change?
My wife, Emil, did a C-section. So in the beginning, I was pretty much doing all of it. I feel like I've been slacking, though, lately with how much I've been traveling. But yeah, I try to, I try to do one here and there just to keep it in the, keep the rhythm up, so I don't, forget how to do it. But yeah, it's probably somewhere above the triple digits, but I feel like my wife is probably in the quadruple digits at this point.
I'm sure she's keeping count. I'm sure you'll have plenty of time to make up that number. Let's focus now back on the track. We were just talking to your teammate, Marcus Armstrong, who also has been having a pretty incredible year. Talk about this year overall for Meyer Shank Racing and the success that you guys have been having compared to previous years.
No, it's been sort of a breakthrough year for us, which I also remember saying last year. But we've been on a great trajectory as a team. I remember 3 years ago when I joined the team, and we sort of set up our goals for the year, and now the goals are very different. Now the goals are to win races, which we have been doing this year. Score consistent, top fives, which we have been doing as well, and yeah, it's just so exciting when you're on on an upward trajectory like that, which not all of the teams are like that. You see a lot of teams struggling to get results, and we're definitely just getting better and better all the time. So super cool going into also our home race in Mid Ohio soon. So that's always very special for us, and hopefully we can get that first win there at Mid Ohio.
Yeah, it is a home race in so many ways, obviously, for Meyer Shank Racing, based out of Pataskala. What makes that track very unique and challenging?
I think it's a very physical track. It's always very hot there. I would say the track is very enjoyable, though. It's one of those tracks that kind of brings a smile to your face, where some tracks are just very difficult and almost like annoying in a sense, where I always found myself just enjoying driving at Mid Ohio, even if it's very tough, if that makes sense. And I feel like the race it's always very interesting with the strategy. It's always kind of between the three stopper or the two stopper, and like if you're saving fuel or if you're pushing very hard, and that mix of strategy has always played very well with Mid Ohio to give the fans a good show. And it also is a very cool event. Like there's a lot of fans coming out there, with their coolers and camping and stuff like that. So it's something we always look forward to, and I've always rated it as probably my favorite track on the calendar.
Surely, a track like that can lead to some interesting, dare we say, dramatic finishes. A place that is obviously different than racing at the Indy 500. But that being said, does the closest finish in Indy 500 history give you perspective and maybe a lot of confidence going into other races like Mid Ohio, where you can have the confidence of knowing you can have a strategy that, because of your experience, could pay off down the line?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because back in 2019, in my rookie year, I finished second at Mid Ohio, and I think it was one of the closest ever road course finishes, at least, behind Dixon. So I know what it feels like to lose out with a very little margin. But yeah, it's a very different track, and I'm realistic with that fact. Almost everywhere we go in IndyCar, it's going to be a very different challenge. So whatever you had at the 500 is going to be irrelevant at Mid Ohio. But what does stay is the confidence, the momentum, the vibe in the team after you have a race like that. It just helps everyone, and it just takes us to the next level mentally as well. So that's what we've been riding on, and we're confident we can keep riding that wave. But yeah, Mid Ohio is going to be very, very different from Indy 500.
Right. All right, Felix, a couple quick ones and fun ones to close out our time. This race is taking place 4th of July weekend. I'm wondering if you've had the experience of having an American-style cookout. We talked to Marcus. He actually hasn't eaten meat in years, but he would love to put peanut butter on his burger. What is your favorite cookout food? Are you getting a burger? Are you getting a hot dog? Maybe some sides? Are you a potato salad guy? Tell me what's on your plate at a cookout if you got invited to one.
Dude, I'm one of those any kind of meat guy, especially if it's on the grill. But probably a burger. A good burger is hard to beat. I've never done, because we always race at the 4th of July, I've never really done a true one. I think one year, like during COVID, I did a semi-real one. It was still kind of limited.
Yeah.
So I'm still waiting to get that full experience, I guess, because I'm always like in a bed somewhere trying to sleep and
Right, or recover.
and while I'm hearing like fireworks and stuff. So yeah, even if I've been in the US now for like 10 years, still it's still a TBA. But yeah, I do love a good burger, man. That's hard to beat.
All right, our thanks to Felix Rosenqvist, Michael Shank, and Marcus Armstrong for their time as Meyer Shank Racing gets set for the race at Mid-Ohio. And the green flag set to wave on Sunday, July 5th at 12:30. That'll do it for this edition of NBC4 Sports Extra. I'm David de Guzman. Until next time, have a good one.
Thanks for watching. For more NBC4, download the NBC4 streaming app. You'll get free 24/7 local programming streamed straight to your living room. Just search NBC4 Columbus on your Apple TV, Amazon Fire, Roku, or Samsung device.